Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Layla Khan. I'm the Director of Channel and Alliances at AB Tasty for North America. And I am in charge at AB Tasty of overseeing all of our strategic agency partnerships and technology partnerships. We have a fabulous partnership with our friends at Contentsquare, so very, very happy to be here with you all today. And I'm even more happy to be joined on stage today by Stacey Howe from Bissell. Stacey, I'll pass it to you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Layla. My name is Stacey Howe, and I'm the lead UX and optimization specialist at Bissell. If you haven't heard of Bissell, you've probably used one of our cleaning products at some point. You've probably also heard of our Crosswave or our Little Green viral portable deep cleaner. If you've been on TikTok, I'm sure you've seen some of our videos, those satisfying cleaning videos that you see all the time. So at Bissell, we also have our love for pets. So if you've heard of our tagline, it's every purchase saves pets. So every time a Bissell product is purchased, a portion of that purchase goes to our Bissell Pet Foundation, and that goes to help save homeless pets all across the country. So while Bissell is all about helping you deep clean your home, we're also about saving pets.
And a fun fact, the brand is over 140 years old, and I want to call that out because Bissell's transformation over the past century really highlights how legacy brands can evolve through data, testing, and digital innovation. But of course, you can only do that with the right people, the right mindset, and the right technology, and Stacey knows this better than anyone. Before we dive in to the content for today, I want to take a quick moment to introduce AB Tasty for those who might not be familiar. But in essence, AB Tasty is a digital experience optimization platform. We're helping brands to create relevant and impactful online experiences. We do that through offering experimentation, personalization, merchandising, and recommendations, and even AI-powered segmentation. Within our platform, you can even segment by emotional profiles. All of this is with the goal of helping brands inch closer to the individual and elevate that customer experience. So, before we dive in all things Bissell and experimentation, I want to run a little experiment in the room. I hope you all have your wristbands and are ready to participate. I have a couple questions to go through just to survey the room and see how we are looking here. So, first question, when you're browsing on your phone and something feels off, what is most likely to make you give up and leave? So you're going to pick red if it's because the site is too slow or glitchy, blue if it's most commonly because you can't find what you're looking for, maybe there's some poor navigation on the site, or green if it's because you get distracted and open TikTok or another app and forget that you were even shopping. Let's read the room here. All right, I see a little bit of everything, a lot of red, handful of green, handful of blue. I get distracted on TikTok more than I'd like to admit. Stacey, how about you?
I would definitely be green.
Okay, yeah, so a little bit of everything here. Let's go to the next one. Okay, think about the last time you bought from a brand that you've never purchased from before. What was it that gave you that final push to check out? So red if it was a compelling discount or offer, blue if it was strong customer reviews, or green if it was a strong brand identity that you really resonated with. Okay, a lot of blue, handful of red, handful of green. For me, it would be the reviews, personally.
I agree with the room, reviews.
Okay, we're on the same page, we're on the same wavelength there, Stacey. Now, think about the last time you abandoned your cart. What made you bounce? Was it shipping cost or delivery time? Was it uncertainty or lack of trust? Maybe you didn't like the return policy or reviews? Or was it that you needed your credit card and it was all the way in the other room? Okay, again, a very solid mix here. I am green again, personally. This always happens to me. How about you?
I think so too.
Okay, we're very much aligned.
Yes,
I love
we
that. But we did all this basically to illustrate, as we set the stage for diving into experimentation at Bissell, that we all know our customers are not all the same. We all think, behave, and convert very differently. And this is exactly why we test. Not everybody responds the same way. And experimentation is what helps you uncover what works across different users. So with the data that you get from testing, you're able to gain confidence to personalize experiences to different user groups. You can easily scale the winners, and you can cut what doesn't perform. So without further ado, we're going to dive into experimentation at Bissell. I'm very excited, Stacey, to give you the floor to share with us all of the amazing insights that you have from building this culture of experimentation internally. So I'm going to pass you the floor to share with us some tips and tricks and just the overview of how you were able to foster that culture of experimentation within your organization.
Yeah, so we've made testing a major priority in the last few years. And so since I've been working with A/B Tasty, I've been able to create that culture within my team to be able to really get a lot of our data and get a lot of the feedback from our users and really be able to understand them so that we can make our website higher converting and be able to really understand that user and what they're really wanting. So our website is pretty unique. It's not just an e-commerce platform. We're also, with our brand storytelling, and we're not just trying to sell our products, but we also want to create that culture of our passion for pets. So we want consumers to come to our website. We want them to understand their passion for pets and how we're trying to help them and how they're also giving back when they purchase our products. So what we like to do is we have a feedback survey on our website where we get real-time feedback from our consumers. And then we also have scroll maps, heat maps. We're running tests constantly. And so with all of this data, there's so much coming in that I rely on my team. So I have SEO, I have data analysts, I have copywriters. I have a lot of different teammates that I rely on to be able to help me dig deep into this and really understand that consumer. So that consumer, it really starts with empathy. And we really need to understand what they're coming to our website for, and then why they're bouncing, why they're dropping off, where those pain points are. Once we can really dig deep into that and find those pain points, we're really able to create those tests, and I'm able to go into A/B Tasty and fix those pain points. And then that's when we can get the higher conversion rates. We're able to give them a better experience based on the data that we're able to find. So when it comes to the process, it really just understanding the user and empathy. And then that's when we can go in and we can find something as simple as changing a few words, or it could be something as major as changing our mobile navigation completely. So it really just depends on our data and then getting into A/B Tasty, creating that test, and then looking at the data from that test, analyzing it, and then either implementing that on our website or starting the process all over again to see where our users, how they're interacting with that test. So it's really a straightforward process, but at the same time, it's just all about the user and being able to understand that. So once we are able to get all of that data, I meet with my team bi-weekly, and then that's when we really come together to brainstorm. I like to create a culture of experimentation where it's not just one person, it's my entire team together. We all have our own expertise, and I like to be able to get my opinions and thoughts of my teammates because we all know our own different points that we have with our data, and we all understand our consumers differently. So I like to brainstorm and get everyone together so that there is no silos, and we're working together as a team. And we're able to really understand the customers so that we can all work together and that we're always sharing data and the testing results that we do get.
I love it. And Stacey, I love your approach because, as you mentioned, you're working really closely with cross-functional teams. You're working across consumer research, analytics, digital leadership. You're bringing everyone into the fold, and that is so, so critical when it comes to eliminating bias in the testing and experimentation process. You get the chance to get everyone's feedback and thoughts and input into what you're testing and the roadmap that you're building. And you're taking insights from Hotjar by Contentsquare, you're turning that into action with A/B Tasty, and this is what empathy-driven testing is really all about. And you've done just such a stellar job of making experimentation a shared and ongoing priority at Bissell, and it really shows when we look at some of the experiments that you've run. Before we dive into some of those amazing use cases, just to further set the stage here, so you mentioned from a tools perspective that you're using A/B Tasty for your experimentation, you're using Hotjar by Contentsquare for your experience analytics, and This actually up on the screen really nicely illustrates how the two platforms work hand in hand. And you've been able to build your testing roadmap based on issues identified through Hotjar. And then that's allowed you to find your points of friction. And then with your testing platform, you're able to create these hypotheses that are very data-driven and test solutions. So together it creates this very, very nice feedback loop where you're observing, you're hypothesizing, you're testing, you're learning, and that process repeats. It's an endless process. It's very continuous. And all of that is because conversion rate optimization really cannot be thought of as a one and done project. It is an ongoing process that is never ending, essentially. Now let's dive into some of your real world applications and some of the awesome tests that you have run on the site.
So this is one of the tests that we recently just did. And so this came from some of the feedback that we got from our feedback survey using Hotjar. Some of our consumers were saying that they were wanting to compare some of our products, but they weren't able to get to the PLPs that they were trying to find to compare those products. And our mobile traffic is about 85% of our traffic. So as I'm sure most of you know, everyone is using mobile now, especially to do research, and we need to make it a lot easier for consumers to do that research. And so what I did is I went into our mobile navigation and I looked to see how can we make this better. I did some research into trying to figure out the best practices, what consumers really needed to make this a seamless experience on mobile to get from just getting onto our website to get to those PLPs, to get to the PDPs, and then to make that conversion. So how was I going to do this to make it easier? I designed this in A/B Tasty, and I was able to turn the multi-page steps navigations into an accordion. So it's all on one page, it's all right there for the consumers. So every category is in an accordion, and if they click on the wrong category, instead of going into another tab, it's all right there, and they can go into another category without leaving the page. So this made it easier for consumers to be able to seamlessly get to the PLP that they were looking for. And along with this test as well, not every test is going to be a winner. While we did see triple-digit increases to our PLPs, which was great. That was our main KPI, was to get consumers into our PLPs so that they were able to do that comparison and find the products they were looking for. We did see decreases in our secondary links. So what we're going to do is take the winner of this test and make it the control for the next test and keep iterating on that. So while this was a winner, we're just going to keep iterating on top of this until we get to the navigation that we are satisfied with and seeing the conversion that we are looking for.
I love the idea of an always-on test because, as we know, customer preferences are constantly changing, so you want to stay ahead of that at all times. And this test is so important because we all know over 50% of traffic at this point comes from mobile when we're thinking about web traffic. And if your mobile navigation is clunky, slow, or confusing, that's a huge reason why users bounce and abandon the session. So, as user preferences evolve, you're going to keep getting feedback, and you're maintaining that mindset of conversion rate optimization as that ongoing process. Let's go to the next one.
So the next step in this journey was the PLPs. So now that we are able to take them from the navigation and get them to the PLPs, we were able to find that consumers were now bouncing when they got here because they had to scroll and they weren't finding the products fast enough. So what we did is these PLPs are shoppable. Once consumers get here, they don't need that extra content, they don't need the images, they just want to get to the products, they want to get to the PDPs and continue shopping. So we removed the extra content that wasn't necessary. So you can see on the variation in the test, I removed the image and I just kept it very straight, simple, and made it streamlined so that it was easy to read. And we put the products farther up on the page. So there was less scrolling, easier to understand. You can already see that the two products are up there, and then you can see the bullet points are there, so you can start comparing right away. So with this, we are also able to see double-digit increases to consumers clicking add to cart and learn more straight from the PLPs. So this was able to let us see that consumers were wanting that shoppable experience with less content right there so that there was less scrolling and they can get to the products that they were wanting to find right away.
Unreal. Another fabulous example of a test that was rooted in customer empathy and it drove some true ROI. Let's look at this one. I love this one. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so this one was actually something that didn't come from consumer research. It was actually something that came from my team. So when we were looking at our site, and this came from one of my brainstorm sessions as well with my team. We were looking at the site, thinking about the different pain points or different things that we could try and change. This was a quick win for us. So what we did is we saw the order now. When it comes to order now, we felt that that didn't really come off as safety. It didn't seem like when you're making that purchase, okay, where you're buying a vacuum, it's a little bit more expensive. The safety doesn't really feel there when it's order now. That seems a little bit more impulsive, something that maybe you would buy on TikTok. Okay, I'm gonna order it now. It doesn't really need to be as safe. So what we did is on our website, we wanted it to feel more secure. You're making a bigger purchase, so we want to change it to something as simple as checkout or secure checkout so that you know that when you're making a purchase with us, it's with a reputable company and that your payment, your credit card, it's not going to get stolen, it's safe with us. So this was a super easy test that we ran. It took me about 5 minutes to set up, and then we are able to see a double-digit increase of consumers making it from the cart to checkout just from changing a simple word.
This is such a great example of the fact that words truly matter when it comes to buyer psychology. And Stacey, it's great that you were able to test it instead of just making assumptions and guessing. And again, the beauty of experimentation, it really takes the guesswork out of any changes that you're making on the site. And you can hard code after that with certainty, knowing what is driving that positive user behavior that you're looking for. On to the next.
So along with the consumer journey, we took them from the navigation to the PLP, and now we're taking them to the PDP. So when it came to this test, what we're doing is consumers have a shorter attention span. What they're doing is they want to come to these pages and they want to know the benefits. They don't want to scan the page. They don't want to read for paragraphs and try and figure out what those benefits are. They want to have everything right there and then. They want to get to the page and say, why do I need this? I don't want to read everything and try and figure it out for myself. These are the benefits right here. So instead of, you can see on the control, all of those benefits are there, but I'm reading that and it might take me a while and I might see that paragraph and just say, forget it and leave. So on the control, or on the variation, it's all right there. It tells you exactly what we're trying to give you, and it gives you the exact benefits. So it tells you the weight, it tells you the motor speed and everything. So by doing this, we were able to increase add to cart clicks and conversion just by taking that paragraph and put it into bullet points. We didn't change the copy, just simply put it into bullet points so that it was easier to read.
It's wild how such a simple change can make such a big impact when it comes to conversions. This is another prime example of that.
So this one came from Hotjar, and it was our feedback survey. And so what we found was that consumers were leaving us feedback and saying that they didn't know where to put their coupon code. And we didn't realize that we were giving consumers a way to get to their checkout without going to the cart. So once they added to the cart, they were clicking go to checkout, but there was no coupon code link. So in order to add their coupon code, they would have to go back to the cart to add it and then go back into checkout. So when I was looking at the results from the feedback survey, I was able to see that consumers were having that pain point, and I went straight to our development team and said, hey, consumers are not able to find this. Can we add the coupon code into the checkout and make it easier for consumers so that they don't have to go back to the cart just to add this? And we were able to add that right away, and we no longer have that feedback from consumers. So just by having the survey, we were able to fix that pain point right away.
This is such an important one too, because it's right at the point of conversion. It's a pure UX error, if you hadn't had that survey in place, like who knows how long it might have taken you to uncover why people are bouncing right at the bottom of the funnel. So it's a great way to mitigate risk, having these feedback forms in place throughout the site. And in this case, it likely saved you a lot of potentially lost revenue. So well done.
And this one, I really liked being able to test this one. So as I had talked about before, at the heart of Bissell is our Bissell Pet Foundation. It's something that the Bissell family has really built up from being able to help these homeless pets, and it's something that we added onto our site so that while consumers are able to help homeless pets by buying our products, they can also add an extra donation through the checkout. So when we had this on the site before, we just had that you could simply donate. And a lot of companies do have this where they ask you to donate to a charity, but they don't tell you where your money is going. And that's kind of what we had it on here. We said that you could donate to the foundation, and there was no copy about where your money was going, how it was being used to the foundation. So what we did is we added an image of a puppy that was rescued. So this is one of the puppies that we did help. And we added that 100% of your donation is going straight to the foundation. So this is something that was very important to us, because every single penny that you donate is going straight to these pets. And that's something that a lot of companies don't tell you. And so we want to be very upfront with everyone and tell them every penny that you give us is going straight to helping them. And so this was able to increase our donations and helping consumers understand what they're doing to help. And we also, after we added this, we did get feedback through our feedback survey, and consumers were telling us that they were happy to buy our products because they were helping these pets as well.
Again, another change at the point of conversion, which is so critical, and we have it up here, but the small change created that emotional connection and that trust at such a critical moment in the decision-making process, right at the bottom of the funnel. Again, it really comes back to buyer psychology and what I said earlier, that words truly matter, and being able to test them and validate different language is huge, as the results show here through the test results. Okay, so that brings us close to the end here, but we wanted to wrap everything up with some key takeaways for the room. So we talked about a few different things here. We talked about sourcing ideas from both data and customer empathy. Stacey, you and the team have done this so well. We've talked about adopting an iterative testing mindset, so think always-on testing, and that mindset of continuous improvement. And then lastly, we talked about building a culture where experimentation is a shared, ongoing priority across the organization. Stacey, is there anything you'd add on to this at all?
Yeah, I think one really important thing about testing is there's no bad test. So we're testing constantly all the time, and if you create a test and you see data that was not what you were expecting, if you dig deep down into the data, there's always something to learn. So even if it wasn't a winner, you can always learn something from your test. So there's no such thing as a bad test. And always keep testing no matter what. Even if it's something that you don't know if it's going to work, just keep testing and you will always learn something from it.
Couldn't agree more. That's something we talk about all the time at AB Tasty as well. I think it's a great takeaway. And before we officially wrap up, I'd love to hear from you as we think about the future and we think about the future of experimentation specifically. What are you most excited about when you think about that for Bissell?
Yeah, the digital platform is always changing, and the consumer journey is always changing. It could change tomorrow, it could change in a month, and so we never know what's really going to happen. And we just know that with the way things are looking with AI and personalization, there's so many exciting things that are coming up, and just being able to give consumers a more one-on-one personalization experience when they come to a website and making it more about them instead of just going to a website and trying to find something for themselves. The more that we can personalize and make it more about the consumer, it's really exciting the way that AI is going and personalization. So we're really excited about looking forward to everything that AB Tasty has and everything that the digital experience is going to have in the future.
Couldn't agree more. And if I could add to that, one thing that we're seeing in the industry a lot more now is that shift to more towards advanced personalization. So moving from that basic segmentation to hyper-personalized AI-driven experiences. And Stacey, as you mentioned, like customer needs, intent, and mindset is shifting constantly, hour to hour, platform to platform even. So my bold prediction is that the brands that win are the ones who stop guessing on assumptions and start responding based on real-time signals and digital cues. If anyone wants to learn more about how A/B Tasty is helping brands to do this, we have a booth outside. Please come chat with us. We'll be more than happy. Stacey, thank you so much for sharing your insights today. The work that you're doing at Bissell is truly inspiring. And to everyone in the room, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.